my God, I love this so much. Oh, such a great question. So you're right. So we're at about 45% of American women single and not in desire for men, or they're holding a lot of resentment. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. Number one, you have to wake up to the truth of emotional intelligence and energy. Most women, unfortunately, believe they're highly aware. They just are like, oh, I'm so aware because they've done so much work, or they go to yoga, or they meditate. And sure, you can get your desires if you meditate every day, but it's going to take you literally like 35 lifetimes.
Hey, I'm Jen, host of the Open Bedroom podcast, where you'll find topics of sex, dating, relationships, non-monogamy, and more. I'm glad you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Open Bedroom podcast. Today, we're talking about love languages and emotional intelligence and speaking the language of the heart. Today, I have Ashanti on today. She is an emotional intelligence and energetic expert. She blends magic and then really down-to-earth understanding of core wounds, self-love, and creating massive shifts in internal frequency. She talks about creating magnetism through emotional regulation. She's the author of The Empath is the Narcissist, a book about push-pull, masculine and feminine dynamics, and then the breaking out of those toxic cycles, which I'm really excited to talk about. We've already kind of started touching on that before we hit record. She's the founder of Beyond EQ International Corporate, and she's also a coach for men and women in self-love and authentic vibes. Asha survived the Pacific Palisades fire, where she lost her home just months after rebuilding her life from nothing. And today we are having a conversation on resilience, self-love, and rewriting our narratives after hardship. Asha, welcome. And I think let's just dive into that experience of you lost your home after losing everything, and what led to that? I know you were just kind of rebuilding your life. Let's dive in.
Yes. Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you so much for having me, Jennifer.
Thanks
And
for
thank
being
you
on.
to the audience. I'm so thrilled to be here. And hopefully we can touch some people today with some good stuff and maybe even a little triggers coming up for people, which is always in service and always very good as well, believe it or not. So well, what happened for me and my son was we lost everything at the end of 2024. I had an investor come in to give me $500,000 to launch my business and really believed in me. And then he went to go get the money and he died. And when he passed away, I had already built out my team. So this is the end of 2024. Oh, excuse me, end of 2023, like the very end of 2023. And I was like, oh my God, I think I can do this. And I tried really hard to keep the business afloat, but I had built out this entire team and I became really over leveraged. And honestly, Jennifer, I didn't even see it coming. I turned around and had $500 in my bank account and I lost my apartment and my son and I had to move into my parents'. And at that period, I hated men. I hated God. I hated my mission. I was certain I was on the wrong path. Thankfully, I had inward work coaches and guides. I always have an energy healer or a hypnotherapist, and I had a business coach. And they were like, you just got to keep going. You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going. And so within 7 months, I did $293,000 in sales, was able to get myself out of debt and automate my business while still dealing with the emotional overwhelm. Then I moved to Pacific Palisades. I was super excited. I'm like, okay, yes, let's go. I'm following my dreams. My son and I are going to move to Pacific Palisades. And within the 5 months that we were living there, we lost our house in the fire. And so that time I had already gone through it and I knew that I could get out of it. And the time with the Pacific Palisades, what differed for me was I bled very publicly. I shared my heart. I was so authentic and so feminine and so deep in the mourning of my feelings and mourning with my audience. And I still held my authority as the EQ expert. And I was able to hold in tandem that feminine vulnerability and that ability to have my audience feel me. And I'm a motherfucking badass. And this is where you come when it's time to work on your resilience and you get serious about why you're here. And so I really saw what I teach, which is the feminine and masculine coming together, as you and I were just discussing off camera, and how this is what we need in leadership, what we need in individuals. It's not about strong leadership anymore. Strong means actually, etymologically, it means grit or tight or so compressed. That's what strong means. Where resilience means moving through the heart, feeling the emotion, and then gathering the empathy and the insights so that you can turn your triggers into pure power. So that's what has happened for me in the last, 10 weeks. And then I just won a bikini show last weekend.
And then there's that.
Awesome.
I know. Still hot.
Again, hotter by the day. So that's the story.
Wow. I can imagine that is incredibly triggering, in all things. I mean, I just moved, but it was intentional. It wasn't because my house caught on fire. And even that, the moving through the memories and the packing and I grew my kids up in this house, and it was I had an ex-husband, and then that was over and I'm in a new relationship. And it was just these moments in our lives where we're moving through these transitions. I'm 41 this year, and my kid will be 18 next year. And I am like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Moving through motherhood I don't know how old your son is, but it's been so fast, and I'm not ready. And it's the older that I get, the faster life moves. And so I'm feeling all these things. I can't even imagine what it feels like to experience it and not be at least a little bit ready or prepared, or it's the plan is to move.
Oh my gosh, it's so true, Jennifer. I will say, I'm continuously shown in these circumstances how blessed I am to even be able to work through my resilience. I am a upper middle class white woman in the United States. And I do say to my son, one of the most selfish things you can do as a white man in the United States is let your emotions get in the way of your greatness. There are people all over the world. We've lived internationally. My son's been to about 17 countries. He's 14, but he's been an international traveler since he was a child. And we lived in Indonesia, and we've been all over Europe and Asia and stuff. And we see and meet people that have the same desires that do not have nearly the opportunity that we do. And so I've really been able to see that with these experiences, and it just makes me go deeper. Of course I have my emotions. Geez, you know what I mean? Of course, hello, but I'm not a robot. And at the same time, I do always consider that because I want to be able to reach people with impact. So I think that's one of the major things. The other thing that I learned, Jennifer, is how crazy we can get when a big tragedy like that happens. So let's say somebody breaks your heart, you can literally give up on everything. It's called the collapse. So you can collapse your entire business. You can collapse your whole life. You can stop going after your dreams, all because somebody said no. You can go down to the minutia. Let's say you have a sales call and Mary's been vibing on you forever. And Jennifer, you're like, okay, this is definitely going to be a big sale. And then Mary's like, yeah, know what? I don't want to work with you. Someone who's not emotionally resilient can take that story and tie it to their worthiness and be like, I'm never going to get there. Everybody says no to me. I'm a shitty salesperson. All these stories simply because Mary said no. And so it's the same concept with our personal lives as well and how tragedy happens. So in this experience, I've met a woman who lives in my building. I just met her son about a couple of weeks ago randomly at the grocery store. And I said, how's your mother doing? I ran into him and I said, how's your mom doing? And he said, oh my God, she's still so debilitated from the fire. And I was like, from my perspective, I'm doing bikini shows. I've set up a corporate business. I'm booking podcasts. I'm fucking like getting hotter by the second. I'm like living the dream over here, all because of the resilience and the choice I made based on the experience. So if you have a heartbreak, same. You could literally make that person your enemy for the rest of your life simply because of one behavior, or you could turn it into your biggest gift. And that's where my book stems from. The Empath is the Narcissist.
So freaking yummy. I love it.
So good, right? It's so good. You're like, holy shit, what am I choosing?
Well, I'm realizing too that like I've used more of the word fluidity, that like you have to be super fluid and good with change, but it is resilience. It's the same thing. And for me, the word resilience has always felt kind of masculine, but now that you explain it, it makes a lot of sense. Interestingly, I was on vacation last week, and the first fucking day of vacation, I got a client termination email. And I let it sit in me for a minute, and then I was just like, it's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Like, I don't have to hustle to get clients. I've sown the seeds. I've made a lot of posts like this on LinkedIn lately. And by God, the very next day I had a message on was it Facebook or LinkedIn? I don't remember, but it was someone that I've been like just kind of planting seeds. And he was like, I'm ready. When can we talk? Oh, I know what it was. I was in a Facebook group for one of my retail clients that I have. And somebody had posted, I need help with reporting. And I was like, oh, I do that. Super affordable. I'd love to talk with you. If you're interested, message me. This was like 6 months ago. And he messages me the day after I got a client termination note. And he was like, I have to talk to you. I'm ready to hire you. Can we do it next week when you're back? I was like,
Yeah.
yes. Yesterday, I woke up. No, yeah, in the morning, 2 a.m. this morning, I woke up to a Facebook message. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but it is like the place for me to get clients, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had another client who I've worked with off and on for like 7 or 8 years. He's been on my podcast before. We talked about relationships. It was great. And he said, well, that original client that we were working with, it kind of fell through, but I have two more that are ready to go, and they're doing millions of dollars on Amazon, and they're ready for Walmart. And I was like, hell yeah. So
Wow.
it's that like, you're right. It's that not clenching and holding and being so stressed out because this thing happened, but it's that like resilience and fluidity of, if
Mhm.
not this, something better. Like the universe is looking out for me. The next thing will flow in, the next person will flow in, the next house will, it's just stuff. And like it's part of our human existence, our human interaction, our ability of being here and being in the moment and just experiencing all of it. It's kind of fun.
God, it's so true. And I love what you hit on about, the trust piece. So most of the feminine in particular, the feminine primally is very afraid to be alone, or she has these fears about covering and feeling protected. And money looks as if it is going to give you that, where I have been shown over and over again, having lost all of my money and then all of my stuff and all of my home. That it's just a perception. And so for me, what I do now and it's very, very feminine, is I make the decision before I have any tangible evidence that it's going to work. It's called the feminine is by nature blind. So she knows that she has to make a decision. So here's a great example. In fact, it's so funny because you just go, oh, Facebook is like the place to get clients. And I actually had like a little bit like, ooh, like inside me, because I just declared that I'm leaving Facebook. I'm building on LinkedIn, and I'm automating all of Facebook, and I'm only going off my innate knowing that this is time for me to move. I'm not really
Mhm.
leaving. We're automating everything,
Mhm.
but I'm giving my team members the power to run Facebook, and I've deleted the app. I am
Good
telling
for
you right now,
you.
I've already like double dipped. I've gone back. I'm like putting posts up. I like can't, I'm micromanaging my team. All these funny little things are coming up
Mhm.
because I'm blind to what's happening. And it's so funny because it's just a social media handle, but it's an extension of us. Our manifestations are an extension of who we are. And also, Jennifer, what I've been able to teach on this week is what we call divine PTSD. So where before it may have looked like I don't know if you've ever done like MLMs, or like you start a business and then stop it and
Oh
then
yeah.
stop it, or
Skinny
pick a client.
wraps for me.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, or you like pick a client.
Mary Kay.
Right. I know all of it, right? Rodan and Fields.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like you pick a client and then you're like, oh, this client doesn't work. Let me go over here. Or
Mhm.
Facebook isn't working. Let me try TikTok.
Mhm.
So that's a behavior of running. So I had to sit in the like, oh my God, am I running? or am I expanding and realizing that it's the same behavior, but the intention and the energy behind it is different? I'm not running, I'm growing. And so that's what stops people a lot from into deep love, from receiving a lot of money, from receiving a lot of cock and happiness as a woman, and men receiving love. My God, we've got so many men afraid to receive love. And all of us are sort of running away from the receiving because we might feel like it's the same thing from a bad behavior from before, where it's actually what I call divine PTSD.
I like that.
Yeah, it's divine.
Ooh, that's so good. Okay. So
Yeah.
one of the things that we promised to talk about was love languages and then kind of mixing that in with EQ. Do you want
Yeah.
to kind of mix us into I've had a few podcast episodes around love languages. I'm curious if you're still talking about, what is it, Gary Chapman, or if it's something totally different.
So when it comes to this, is going to be against the grain, is that when you are again divine and you've really learned to deeply love yourself and detach, there's actually not much space for love language. You simply become full of your own love, where you're feeding yourself your own language of love. So, for example, I used to need validation from others as well. It's interesting. So it's again, it's sort of that divine thing, right? So let's say like your love language is words of affirmation.
Mhm.
You learn how to be okay if your partner is giving them to you or if your partner is not giving them to you from a place of divine presence. So if you it's almost like you fill yourself up with the words of affirmation like so deeply that you can't even hear if they're affirming you or if they're projecting onto you. It's like you're so deeply in your own self-love language. So it's the same thing with gifts. It's the same thing with like, okay, here's a great example. So I'm still single, ready to mingle because,
Mhm.
I'm waiting on this beautiful king to arrive in the divine timing that's right for him and me. But mostly, at this stage, I'm being claimed by a masculine man. The What I used to have for expectations on men are just, they don't even exist. It's almost like when I speak from my heart, I call this divine love bombing. So let's say this man came in a couple of months ago, very, very hot, like a 98% the guy. And I knew he wasn't the guy. So I won't take that ride anymore because I believe that you can manifest exactly what you desire. Anyway, I said to him, "Oh my God, you make me so like wet and open, and I feel so good around you. Everything in my body is like, oh my God, yes, except for this one thing, and therefore it's a no." And it's very confusing because, like, there's like all this heat going on between us, but I'm still saying no. And he responded, and he was like, "Asha, thank you for sharing. I know how hard that can be to share." And I was like, "Oh, no, it's not hard for me to share." Like at all. I'm love bombing you because it's good for me, not for you. I don't care how you react. I used to care how men would react. If men would be like, "That's too much," I all my boo-boos would come up, my abandonment wound, my too muchness. And now I just shine and prepare for whatever people to react or respond because I don't have attachments to their reaction or their response.
Mhm.
And that is the ultimate love language.
Wow.
So good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because like I think
it's also called divine narcissism. It's like it's about me all the fucking time. And literally men love it. And so
Whoa.
does money.
Okay, we're gonna have to explore that more because I'm
Yeah.
sure other people like me are like, because it feels uncomfortable, right? Like, so I think about different love languages, and the one in particular that you were saying is like words of affirmation. Well, I'm high physical touch, so to me that's a no-brainer. I need a lot of touch. So I have biweekly or weekly massages. That meets a big high touch need for me. It also allows me to take my brain offline. And then I have amazing, like $1 million downloads for work or there's this thing I should do for my partner, or hey, maybe I need to do this thing. I don't know. It always happens when I have a massage.
Yeah.
Also, like masturbation is amazing and super easy. And
Mhm.
I find new ways to make that creative and fun. And so, like, that's an easy love language for me to fulfill. But, like, okay, so words of affirmation. So, are you talking to yourself and you're like, bitch, you are so hot today. Like, you
Yeah.
look so powerful in that suit. Like, you're so smart. Like, is that your inner dialogue? Are you leaving yourself love notes? Like, how does this work?
All the time. So it's so funny because my father was like, Asha, what are you doing to be like this famous movie star? And I was like, this was like last year or a year and a half ago. And I was like, pretending. I am
Yeah.
it. I am it now. And he's like,
Mhm.
I feel like it's working because I've gotten substantially better looking and cleaner and more regulated. And now I live in Los Angeles and I work with celebrities doing energy work. So the alignment is so much of it, 99% of it is who you are inside. So if you're relying on someone else to give you words of affirmation, there is a piece of you that feels as if you cannot receive that from self. The more you are able to receive it from self, the less you're going to have a heavy expectation on someone else or some sort of boundary that you've created that's actually limiting your receivership. And in quite frankly, it comes from a wound of, being not enough. If we get into the deeper nuances, because yes, the divine feminine is, so this is the thing. A narcissist, the only thing that makes somebody narcissistic is if they love themselves and they don't love other people, or they don't love the people they attracted. But if you love the shit out of yourself and then you also love the shit out of everybody around you, you're a divine narcissist. And that narcissist comes from the man that was like a Greek god who loved himself.
Mhm.
And sure, there's vanity stuff in there, but I believe this is how the divine feminine is meant to be and the divine masculine. They love themselves and their self-love emanates to others around them, and then when they see others they're like, oh my God, like, I love you, Jennifer. I fucking love you. You are hot, you are stunning, you are killing it out there. And if you were to pass me in your, money or your power, I'm still very happy for you. I
Mhm.
don't have jealousy. Now, of course, things come up, but you deal with it and you realize that that woman is just a mirror of everything that you are. And so that involves a lot of wounding, right? Sister wounds, betrayal wounds, jealousy, all these programs that we've been said to believe. Where the truth is you can source every single thing that you need from the infinite source above, and that requires increasing your emotional intelligence and frequency.
This is so yummy.
It's
Okay.
so fun. I know. And because, like, so babe, self-pleasure and massage, girl, you are talking my language. I used to live in Bali. Like, do you have any idea how hard it is come back to the US where they charge like $80 a massage? I'm like, they're $3 in Bali, but it's cool. I still get like three a month. I have to. But yeah, it's a really powerful piece. It doesn't mean that you don't look for what you want and what you desire. Of course, I mean, like, I'll tell you one other thing here. This is a good one. So I have this thing where you can order the man or the woman that you want from the energetic buffet in the sky.
Hmm.
And so women will come to me and they'll be like, Asha, I don't cook. I don't cook. Like, do I have to learn to cook? I'm like, okay, listen. If you want, learn how to make a steak. But if you don't like cooking and you don't enjoy cooking, don't do it just so that you can attract a man. That's actually manipulation. It's not good. You're going to end up resenting him, or he's going to, like, it's just, people aren't thinking about the long term. And so I'm like, my father's a chef. My mother's like his little sous chef. She doesn't cook that much. My dad does the cooking. They're the perfect match. And so the same thing exists. And like, all this shit out there in this dating world is going to get you, jumping through hoops when you don't have to do any of that stuff. You just need to love the shit out of yourself.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Which leads me into what the fuck are we doing wrong? Because There's never been more divorces ever in the history of
Yeah.
the entire world. People are so unhappy. People, I think, have these really unrealistic expectations of maybe even what the perfect human is. I agree with you of ordering from life's buffet. I've had two husbands, each a decade. I'm in my third life partner, and everyone I have an incredible relationship, did conscious uncoupling. They're still all in my life. They're all in my kids' life. Like I couldn't have created anything better because we have seasons. And I think if our partners aren't evolving with us, it's okay. Then
Yeah.
you evolve into your next season and your next person shows up and it is so magical and yummy. It just gets better. So
Love
I'm
that.
seeing a world that is aggressive towards men, that
Mhm.
is, oh God, so many things like demasculating. We're just cutting everyone's balls off, right?
Totally.
Like it's women hear
Totally.
me roar, and we're exhausted. The women are exhausted. We're not having great sex lives. We're unhappy at work. We're doing too much. We're taking too much on. Like we're doing it wrong. So I
Mhm.
would love to hear, how do we fix this? Like
Oh my
within
God.
ourselves and our communities and our girlfriends and life, like how do we course correct this? And what does the universe want that provides that super yummy polarity where you feel attracted and yummy and happy to be with a partner?
Oh my God, I love this so much. Oh, such a great question. So you're right. So we're at about 45% of American women single and not in desire for men, or they're holding a lot of resentment. So there's a lot of factors that come into play. Number one, you have to wake up to the truth of emotional intelligence and energy. Most women, unfortunately, believe they're highly aware. They just are like, oh, I'm so aware because they've done so much work, or they go to yoga, or they meditate. And sure, you can get your desires if you meditate every day, but it's going to take you literally like 35 lifetimes. So women need to wake up to the fact that it is always a woman's emotional intelligence. She has to work on herself. If a woman doesn't invest in herself and she's a leader, I instantly like just either I want her to be a client, or just she kind of goes down in credibility for me, because I'm like, well, if you're not taking care of your emotional well-being, who is? Because that is the only thing that matters. And so number one, the way that I help women to figure this out really quickly is you measure in three areas. Number one, your bank account. Number two, your love life. Number three, your body. If any of those are not at like a 10, or on your way to being a 10, or like an 8 to a 10, like in like your spiritual connection and your ability to be honest about like your spiritual connection as a woman, those sort of four areas, once you measure them 1 through 10. If they're not 1 to 10, definitely get energy work with a shaman, a local shaman. You can take my programs. We do energy work every week, and we have a master hypnotherapist. And the reason we do this is because energy work, in the next 2 to 3 years, energy work will be like going to get your nails done. So what a lot of women do is they go get their nails done, or they go have a massage, which is great. And there's beauty in that, but it's not hitting the cells. It's not hitting the DNA. It's not hitting the subconscious mind. And when you do the subconscious work in conjunction with those things, you become a literal magnet to men and money and beauty and health. It's like I was so overweight, Jennifer, literally like 2 years ago. I was about 50 pounds heavier. You know what I've gone through with my emotional, chaos. I also have gone through divorce, two sexual assaults, massive car accident, and another man that promised to fund me, and he ghosted me. So I've experienced extraordinary trauma, but because of the regulation and the emotional work, that I never stop it. I never stop it. Why would I ever stop? I'm like, why would you ever stop taking care of your emotional health? I actually say emotional intelligence with feminine embodiment, not in every workplace, is weaponry against humanity. So it leads me to the second piece about the men, because you're like, okay, all that's great, Asha. That's a lot of responsibility. It is. Okay. I know that women have like the responsibility piece, but a woman is either going to build a man up or tear him down, and vice versa. Men are going to either build you up or tear you down. You got to know that they're both in service for you. So basically, what I mean is you need to create a rock solid relationship with the dude in your body. So I call this your inner masculine, your inner king. So Jennifer, you have an inner king. I have an inner king. Katie's got an inner king. And then John has an inner muse. Frank's got an inner muse. Paul's got an inner muse. So what we do is we put all this pressure on the outside person to change and to do this and to do that. And then there's no good men, there's no good men, where that's not how manifestation works. If you want a strong masculine man, you have to have, you don't become one. You don't build your damn own business and like turn into a man. But I do that, of course, and I'm also a bodybuilder. But you create this sexual relationship with your inner king. And so when you're having self-pleasure practice, when you're waiting on the man, you're looking inside to create the man of your dreams. That's where we need to start. So I always start with self-worth and safety with the relationship that you have with the masculine. So like maybe past dudes or past partners. You said you had a really good relationship with your previous partners.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Most women perhaps feel like, oh, he never grew and blah, blah, blah. So what I do is I help them feel safe to receive the masculine inside first. And then when he shows up, not to get scared and run away.
Yeah.
Or get mad at him and project on him and try to control him.
Yes, that part.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I still find that in myself. I would say that's my biggest wound is, well, here's something interesting. So two husbands, right? The first one was very verbally abusive. He's still very much the same way, and that's okay. He's the father of my children and my accountant and very much in my life, but like I don't have to be married to him. I don't have to experience that anymore. So I went into husband number two, ordering from the cafeteria, a man that was solid, that was soft spoken, that was safe, that I didn't have to worry was going to scream at me or my kids or throw things against the wall or truthfully be too masculine to me and exert too much testosterone and would let me be the boss. It would make me feel safe and would give me a place for me to find myself again and kind of repair. So I got that. And he was exactly that. I mean, he was exactly that. And so it's funny now because my partner number three is much more assertive, but not verbally abusive, but he like has an opinion and like, let's talk about this and very high emotional EQ, IQ. I don't really know exactly what the difference is. Maybe we can talk about that. But like his emotional intelligence is amazing. And he'll look at me and know exactly how I feel. And sometimes that's good. And I told him sometimes that's bad because I don't always like I'm
Yeah.
sometimes interprocessing my own things and it's not about you. But anyway,
I know. Yeah.
so like I find that now that I have a man who is assertive and has his own opinions and has a vision for himself and our family and all the things that I'm like, wait, hold on. I've always run the show. I've made all the money. I've made all the decisions. I'm the one with the vision. I'm the one that creates. This is what I do. This is who I am.
Yeah.
And so now I'm at this point where we're like going to build a home together and we're building these huge plans for our futures together. And I'm like, but I want to build, I want to create. It's in me. I have to go do things. And he's like, I need you to just wait. So he's in a master's program right now for engineering and he's a year away. And I'm having such a time just breathing into being present and like breathing into
Wow.
not having to create the next big, huge house, but like, what can I create something else in my life? So like for me, the mission for this year is a super, super back into healthy and like I'm almost perimenopausal. And so I can feel my skin getting drier. I'm losing a ton of weight. And so I'm like, okay, how do I get more skin elasticity and collagen? I'm like, cool. I can focus on this for a year and that can be my thing that I really grow. And my other big focus is money. That's funny that you said that. I sold my house and took everything that I've made the profit from the house. And so now I'm like, cool. can I double this in a year? Like, what would it look like if I really got good at investing or I got good at trading or I got good at, and I don't have any experience in this. And so, like, that's another thing I'm working on this year. But it's interesting as we go through, again, these cycles and evolutions in life and the masculine and feminine and who we're choosing as a partner, that there's so much that comes up, right? That we ourselves then have to, I guess, identify that she's still in there or he's still in there. Like you mentioned, I have this like bad bitch, like this real toxic
Yeah.
kind of masculine side of me that doesn't want to allow the feminine in. And I was just saying, I have dealt with that too. I'm like, I still deal with it clearly because I'm like, I'm going to force us towards the future because this is the thing I know how to push and create. And he's like, just breathe. In a year, we're going to do this. But until then, I want you to not be totally freaked out about it. Okay, I'm going to hand you the baton. I just threw a
I
lot at
love
you.
that. So, yeah, actually, no, I think that's so beautiful, and I'm glad you opened that up because so I teach feminine communication where I'm helping women to amplify the polarity. It sounds like you're there, you're taking his leadership, but the to take it even deeper, you can truly, authentically, this could really resonate with a couple women in the audience. You always want to keep it on how Jennifer feels. So it's like, oh, when you tell me that I feel nervous, I feel scared, and you may already know this, but maybe the audience can resonate.
True. I'm
I
just shaking my
feel,
head, yes.
yeah, like I feel nervous. I feel um blind. I feel like I'm trusting you so much, and I love you, and I want to let you know how I feel. And then you say, what do you think? And when you say, what do you think? His brain automatically goes, boop, 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 boop. Let me think of a solution for Jennifer. And he might say, I want you to go right now and get a massage. Now, that is like heightened masculine polarity because now he's telling you what to do, which is very, very stimulating
Right.
in all the right ways. So it's in, and you're giving him more of that leadership. You're giving him more of that, like, I trust you, even though I'm on the edge and I'm uncomfortable. And what can you do to help me? And let him come up with these decisions where it's just, you just fall into it. So the feminine is always setting the tone, and the masculine is always responding to her tone. So if a man is firm enough, he's not going to react. Now, this is the thing. People have to understand that the feminine tests the masculine. She's testing him the whole time. You're saying to yourself, your little primal brain, when you were, out in the middle of freaking nowhere, keeping, doing 18 million things, taking care of a million kids in this freaking, village that you lived in, and he's out hunting for boar or whatever he's doing. Your mind is going, is this man safe? So in order to find out if he's safe, you're going to try to manipulate him. Sorry, ladies. Ladies will be like, I'm not a manipulator. You are. Trust me. Every single woman is dredged in manipulation codes. We're trying to push them down because guess what an unsafe man is? A man that can be controlled by a woman.
Mm-hmm.
A man who can be controlled by a woman is not safe. It is actually the biggest, like, diss to men when we're like, men are so unsafe. It's actually mostly the women that are not safe. That's why men are retreating
Mm-hmm.
because women are so guarded. They're so unpenetrable. They're not soft. They're not like supple and open to him. And the difference, and I know this through my work because I help women become magnetic to like insanely hot, gorgeous, masculine men. And I'm constantly getting filled up by masculine men, like with money or dates or whatever. I'm definitely like enjoying finding myself in this gift and how to help more women feel this way. And so I will say, like, I work with a lot of CEOs. I have never once told a CEO to be like, don't talk about your money wins, be less, wear a trad wife dress, learn how to cook a steak. I've never said that. I only work on their relationship with their inner king. So with you in this situation, you're surrendering. You're learning how to surrender to his sight. It's actually very, very sexy.
I know.
And as long as you keep leaning into your emotions, which it sounds like you have the tools to do, and speaking vulnerably from your heart space, like, oh my God, I feel so blind. I feel so nervous. I feel like I don't know what's going to come next. It's edgy and it's sexy. And it's like you're giving him all of the parts of your brain that used to feel like they had to know it on their own. And you don't have to know it on your own when you're claimed by a masculine man. It's such a beautiful place to be. It's the most powerful place for the feminine.
I'm so turned on right now.
Me too. Oh,
So I sexually am a switch and I'm bisexual. I'm in an open relationship and we have a girlfriend and I have strap-ons. So I'm just telling you this to kind of give you an idea. But interestingly, when you say that to me and you're being feminine and telling me your feelings, I am fuck, babe, let me take care of that for you. Like in my mind, I can switch to what a man is feeling in receiving that conversation.
really
And
affecting.
he's feeling it. Like his dick
Yeah.
might be getting a little hard. He's like, I'm gonna take care of this, babe. I'm gonna take care of
Good.
her. I got
Yeah.
this. And so I guess I have a question. And my
Oh,
question is, if you are partnered to someone who is very feminine and he's a guy, and you're like, I'm just not getting that energy back. Can you, I don't want to use the word manipulate. Can you be more in your feminine and pull that out? Or are some men
absolutely.
just not wired that way? Like, what do you do
Yeah.
if you're
So
like,
this
this is
is
not going to work?
this is awesome. I love what you shared because what you're actually describing when you were talking about like the strap on and that dominance is fucking healthy, babe. That's the real priestess. She is dark and she is light. She is penetrating and she is soft and
Open.
supple.
Hmm.
So the priestess holds all of that energy like nobody else. Like I'm a motherfucking boss at work. I attract a ton of feminine women because I'm also talking about savagery and being confident and I don't give a fuck if a man's in my life or not. Leave or don't. I'm not too much. You need to figure out why you're afraid of my infinite light. And I'm down to throw that down. I'm from Boston. So I love that you hit on that. Now, again, the masculine is always responding to the feminine's energy. So for me, I have to be with a man who's a little docile during the day because I'm a worker. I love creating just like you. And so there's like this beauty that has to coexist. And so a good example is my son Levi. I teach a course with women called feminine mothering. So what a lot of mothers do is they think they're going to raise a strong boy by telling him how to be a strong boy, while number one, simultaneously not having a man in their own bed. Um, and second, and maybe holding resentment against men in their system, which means their son's just going to attract a narcissist. And then thirdly, telling their son what to do all day. So what I do as much as I can, I am a single mother, is I talk to my son like I'll say like I feel, sad that you're not cleaning your room. And he'll be like, "Oh," and I'll be like, "What do you think we can do? Like so that I don't feel sad anymore and I feel disrespected." And that instead of, come on, clean your room, be a better man. Come on, be a better man. Because guess what? He's going to be looking for that energy in his partner and he's going to attract a woman who's controlling. So it's actually so, 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 so powerful. And then the second thing with my son is my endless devotion to my inner king so that I can attract the perfect relationship and embody, not perfect, obviously we're humans, but the most conscious relationship that I possibly can with my son because it's osmosis sitting in that energy. So to answer your question, when when a woman really, again, she deepens into her emotional intelligence and her embodiment, the masculine responds. He's going to either leave or he's going to grow or he's not going to grow, sort of like what you described with your first husband. And same with my first husband. And I chose my first husband based on my wounding. He was probably never meant to grow at the same time as me. I made that choice, and then he did what he was supposed to do. And then perhaps my ego got in the way and who knows? But it's just a really powerful knowing that how much the feminine's energy dictates what's going on. And this is worldwide, it's in companies as well. Masculinized women are affecting companies' bottom line. That we can't even open that can of worms, honey girl. We got a limited amount of time, but that's why I have a corporate business. Feminine embodiment with emotional intelligence.
Oh my God, this is
Yeah, it's
so
hot.
good.
For men and women though. Men need to learn how to be embodied in their feminine energy too. It's receiving. half of those jalopies. I see so many men run away from the divine feminine. I'm like, are we doing that again? Okay, fine. Bye. I see you soon. A lot of men leave the divine feminine and go sink into, a misaligned woman, while the women do the same thing with work.
Yeah. Not gonna argue there. Like
No kidding,
it
right?
feels good to work. It
It
feels
does.
good to feel needed. It feels good to have purpose. And I definitely notice when I stress into my masculine and it's not healthy, I'll work till 11 o'clock at night. I'll force the thing to happen. I'll find my validation in my efforting. And then it's like last week on vacation where I'm like, I'm going to do fucking nothing. I'm not even like, I'm going to check in every couple days just with my VA to make sure that nothing's on fire. And I did have a couple fires, so I did have to do a few small things. But I mean, normally I would have, to your point earlier, not thought that my team could handle everything and have to go in and manually change all the things that they did because they're not going to get the best result for my clients and then they might fire me and then I won't have any clients, so I'll have no money and then it's that whole spiral that we
Yeah.
have. And
Yeah.
I realize like the more that I check out, the business does better.
I know. It's
I would have
amazing.
thought.
I know, because you're like avoiding it a little bit. Like your avoidance makes them want you more.
Not
It's really
only that too, but like I was saying, like the seeds that I've planted bring
right.
me more clients, or that like the systems and the algorithms that I'm working with don't want constant touching. They're like, leave me the fuck alone and let me do
Let
the
me
work that I've been
grow. Yeah.
programmed to do, you know?
You are hilarious. Yeah, it's so true. I mean, and look, you can also play a little bit with your partner where it's like, oh, I'm feeling nervous. I'm not plugged in right now. What do you think? And just literally trust what he says. And it's actually like the most fun, powerful thing in the world.
How do
Like, to,
you avoid being worried about projecting your own emotional needs onto someone else to meet to then make you feel better? Because when you said the thing about your son, where you're like, what should we do about me feeling sad about you not cleaning your room?
yeah, yeah,
Like, I was
yeah.
immediately like, is your son like, oh my God, I'm responsible for mom's emotions? Or is it a naturally masculine thing to go, oh, I'm sorry, let me fix that. I am being a dick. I should go clean my room.
Yeah, so you don't want that's a really good question. So my son is emotionally intelligent enough not to make my emotions his emotions. So he would never, there was a period where one time I remember this is how it happened. Maybe about 4 years ago, I was crying and he started to feel, you could see that he was having an emotional reaction to that. So he was like, oh, I need to fix it. I need to fix it. So there's a technique you can use with kids called striking while the iron is cold. Remember, my son's 14, so he's a young adult. He's 5'11 and 145 pounds. He's an NFL player. He's on his way to go to the NFL. And he's 14. He's like amazing. But when he was a kid, I was like, okay, so let's strike while the iron is cold. When you strike while the iron is cold means you talk about a problem when there's no heat. So we were out gardening and I said, hey, remember the other day when I started to cry? What were you feeling? And he was probably about 8 or 9 at the time. And he said, oh, I don't know. I was feeling like nervous and maybe a little scared. I said, okay, what else? What else are you feeling? He's like, I don't know, like that I had to help you because I was so nervous. And I said, okay, yeah, that's so natural. So natural. Okay. When somebody else has an emotion, the best way you can be is stable. You want to be stable while somebody else is having emotion, because if you get down into the emotion with them, you're going to have conflict, or you're going to have, nobody's going to know what's going on because everybody's having a reaction. So what I said to him at that time was, it'd be like if there was a car accident. You don't want to be acting like, oh my God, there's a car accident. You want to be holding your firm stability in those circumstances. You never want to rescue somebody from their emotions. Okay. So this was when Levi was 8.
Wow.
And so I said, I give instructions like that very, very minimally, but it was, worth the
A good teaching moment. Yeah.
teaching moment. Yeah. And so as a result of that, now he is equipped to not feel as if he needs to rescue my emotions. If anything, he could be like, I don't know, you need to figure it out for yourself. And then, and then that's his answer. And then I have to trust that that's his answer. But I'm trying to get him, I'm not trying, I am being as feminine as I possibly can to get my son into his thinking mind. So that's really where it's not for everybody. This is feminine mothering, and this is this is getting my son to attract a very feminine woman who also goes after her fucking purpose. I mean, I'm out here single mothering, building a damn business. So it's like, this kind of beauty. And he and I go to the gym every night together, and he's 14. We still go to the gym every day. I cook all his meals. He's going to NFL practice. He's a total weapon. And that is due to the high level of energy we keep within the home. So it's a really good question, because he isn't responsible for my emotions. What I am doing is sharing my emotions from a feminine place with a man that I desire to be a king in the way that he leads his woman, without 55 mistakes that we all make, 18 divorces. So that's the goal with my son. So I hope that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I think we could talk for a million hours.
I know.
And I'm sure our listeners are like, I want fucking more of this woman. So I know that you have a program. It's called Self-Worth Warriors. Is that the thing that people should look at next? Should they 100%. Connect with you on social? Like, what do you recommend for people that want more of you?
Thank you so much for asking. Self-Worth Warriors is the best course ever. It's $555 for 10 weeks, and it's filled with lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs, hippies. It's pretty much for everybody, because we're all dealing with two major core wounds: father wound, mother wound. So I teach all of those in depth with emotional intelligence. I have hundreds and hundreds of testimonials, thousands of people that I have served in just 4 years' time. And we've got about 40 active people in the community, and we do a live call once a week. We also have a master hypnotherapist that she comes in once a month, and we have a somatics and sound bowl therapist who comes in once a month. And then I teach twice a month, and I do energy work. My energy work is like really weird, fun, and crazy. I call it the Prince of Energy Healing. Like, we talking about anything and having a good time, raising the vibes. And so that's the first entryway in, and that's only $555. And then my one-on-one programs start at, 5 figures. So if you're more interested in a high touch, intimate experience, we can do that. And I teach in that as well. Not everybody wants that. They want emotional support, but some people want to do business build, and I can help people get to 20K a month automated.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then after Self-Worth Warriors, I do a sex course, and it's so hot.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Expansion.
Oh my gosh, how fun. Okay, so if you guys need some more of Asha, which who doesn't, I will put your social handles as well below, so people can just, always have you in their feeds. Let's put the link to the Self-Worth Warrior program, and then you guys also put a link to our website. So if you want to dig in more and do the one-on-one coaching or the sexy stuff, you are more than welcome to do that. Thank you so much for coming on today. This was like not something I normally talk about, but it's so needed. And I think it so not only affects our lives in the bedrooms, but it affects our relationships. It affects just our well-being, our businesses, all the things.
And emotional intelligence, I can firmly say, if it's not underpinned in emotional and energetic intelligence, you're wasting your time. It is the representation of masculine and feminine emotional intelligence. I get into all that in the big teachings. It's so fun. Everybody who takes the class is like, holy shit. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Let's have better sex, make more money, and look hotter. What a job.
Yes, that's your secret. That's your cheat code to being an incredible human in this life.
Thank you so much for having me. You are so beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer. I had a blast.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Open Bedroom Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, go ahead and give us a like and click subscribe below, and stay up to date on all the new episodes that we release. If you have a topic that you'd really like more information on, leave us a comment below and we'll see what we can do. Feel free to share this podcast with all of your friends and especially your partners. This is a great way to open up some amazing conversations. We'll see you next week.